If you like our content, please like, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get alerts when we introduce new videos. In this video, I'll demonstrate how to upgrade the IoT controller with new software releases. When new software is released for the IoT controller and the virtual Smart Zone controller, announcements are sent to RUCKUS users and it's posted on the RUCKUS support website. If I go to the RUCKUS support website and I click on RUCKUS IoT Suite, you notice that we have documentation, software downloads, we've got some knowledge articles, forum discussion, and so forth. So if I click on my software downloads, this will show the available software. Currently on my IoT controller, I'm running 1.5.1.0.21. On my virtual smart zone, if I scroll down, you can see that I'm running 5.2.0.0.699. So those are the versions that I'm currently running. So if I go back to my support site, my IoT is currently running 1.5.0.1.21. You'll notice here that we have the same version, but there's different files here. So if, for example, I was going to install this from a fresh VM, I would use a .ova installation image. So in my case, I started with 1.5.0.1.21 and I started with an OVA, so I built my virtual machine on my NUC with a .ova file. Now, if I'm going to upgrade, since I already have a .ova file, I'm going to be using an image. And that image can be either a KVM image or it can be a .tar image, which would be used with VM ESXi, which is what I'm going to be using in this case. Notice here that there was also a .ova if I was doing a fresh install. So I'm going to be going from 1.5.0.1.21, and you notice here that there's a 1.5.1.1.17, and then there's a 1.5.1.1.22. So the question then is, well, how do I know what version of IoT software and what version of virtual smart zone software I should be running and which are compatible with which? Well, the key to finding that answer is to go to your documentation. So if I click on Documents, I'm currently running 1.5.1.021, and you'll notice that if I'm going to upgrade to 1.5.11, there are some release notes. So if I click on that release notes, that will bring up the RUCKUS IoT 1.5.1.1 release notes. As a note, there is always release notes for each version of software. And this tells you what version of IoT controller software to use with what version of virtual smart zone software to use. So if I scroll down on this, it'll say things like what's new in this release, but here we have some of the crucial information that we have. Notice here that it says after upgrading to the intermediate release 1.5.1.1.17, to access the latest 1.5.1.1, the user has to upload the image and upgrade to the build 1.5.1.1.22. And then it says after upgrading, it says the user will automatically be logged out. It also has a note here. It says that the user will then have to log back in again when they are prompted and put in a new password. So you're going to have to change your password when you upgrade. And it also says support for downgrade is not provided. For example, if you are in the latest build, 1.5.1.1.22, you cannot downgrade to 1.5.1.1.17 or 1.5.1.0.21 as the system will throw an error. So the release notes will tell you what to do. Now, if you scroll down further in the release notes, it'll tell you what hardware and software is supported and what access points. But even more crucial than that is a release build compatibility matrix. And this is the key you use to find the hidden treasure. So for example, we may have said earlier, well, I don't know what version of my IoT software I should use with what version of Virtual Smart Zone. Well, this tells you. So for example, I'm right here on my IoT controller, 1.5.0.1.21. And it says that that is compatible on my virtual smart zone. Remember, this is my smart zone column here. That is compatible 5.2.0.0.69. As I pointed out earlier, that is the version that I'm currently at on my virtual smart zone. And on my IoT controller, I'm at 1.5.1.0.21. So I'm working my way through this matrix. So what I want to get to is IoT release 1.5.1.1.22, but notice here that I can stay the same on my virtual smart zone. So I'm not going to have to upgrade my virtual smart zone in order to upgrade to this version of the IoT software. So this matrix is key to decoding which version of the IoT software goes with which version of the virtual smart zone software. It also has the AP software over here, so we'll want to make sure that when we do the upgrade that we have this version of the AP software. And it also tells you over here which APs are supported. So this compatibility matrix is the key to knowing which version of IoT controller software goes with which version of Virtual Smart Zone and which version of the AP firmware. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is go ahead and perform my upgrade. So from my IoT controller, I'm going to go to Admin. I'm going to go to Versions and Patches, and you'll notice here that my current version is 1.5.1.0.21. You also notice that it says no patch is available for this. So I'm going to click on Upload Images. And on the images, I'm going to have to do a two-stage process. So I'm going to load my 1.5.1.1.17. Remember, we had to go to 17 before we go to 22. So I'm going to select that. I'll hit Open. It'll go ahead and start the upload process. That'll take a little while. And after about 60 seconds, we'll get the message that it was successful. So now you can see that we have our 1.5.1.1.17, and I'm going to go ahead and set that. It says changing versions will require a reboot. Are you sure? Yes, I'm going to confirm that. So now it's going to reboot the controller. And now it's rebooting. It says services are still starting. Please refresh the page after a few minutes. So this is going to take a little while longer. And after it finishes that, it'll ask me to log in again. So I'll put in my username and password. And that upgrades me. And you notice here that as soon as I logged in, it says, please upgrade to the next version of 1.5.1.1. So now we're up at 117. Now we got to go to the next step up. So I'm going to go ahead and upload the next image. And now I'm going to select 1.5.1.1.22. So I'll select that, I'll open that, and it'll go ahead and do the upload image. And this is going to take a little while. And it says that the version file was uploaded. So now we have our 1.5.1.1.22, and I'm going to go ahead and set that. It says changing versions will require a reboot. Yes, I'm going to confirm that. And this is going to go ahead and take a little while longer. Now I get the message that that version was applied. And next it's going to ask me to log in, so I'll put in my username and password. And that brings me to my dashboard. So next it's going to ask me to change my password. So I'll put in my current password, and then I'll go ahead and update the password. And it says successfully. Now it'll ask me to log in again. And that brings me to the main dashboard. So as you can see, once we log in, we are now at 1.5.1.1.22. So that's the version that we upgraded ourselves to. So our upgrade has been successful. So this completes our demonstration on how to upgrade the IoT software. Just remember to check the release notes on the proper upgrade steps.